All right, welcome to the weekly outlook in the DeFi Dojo. I am Groot, aka Rob, and this is what we do every single week in the DeFi Dojo. We do a weekly analysis of all the markets. We start with the dollar usually, go through the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. We look at stablecoin dominance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then the premium members of the Discord get to do chart requests, and I chart them live in front of them to help them get better prepared for next week. So if you're interested in that, the links will be in the description for the membership that you can sign up for. You get 2 weeks free, so you lose nothing if you want to try it out. I also have a series of trading bots that will automatically trade the markets for you, and these include Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Currently, they are doing very, very well, and the members of the Discord are really liking it. If you do sign up for one of the trading bots, it automatically includes access to the Discord, so you're not paying for both things, and that can save you a little bit of money. Alright, so let's get into it. Also, please like and subscribe to my videos if you want to see more of them. If you watched last month's video, you knew that I was bullish on Bitcoin. And here's our monthly chart, and here is the candle that we got this month. So just being patient and waiting for that to happen, and now our EMAs are bullish on the monthly chart. This is a big deal. This means that our bull market has started. And I've been calling for this for several weeks now. Everybody can attest to that, and it's really great feeling when you're right. I am not always right. I do not claim to always be right, but I am right more often than I am wrong, and that is the goal. So if we go back and look at history here, where these EMAs have crossed bullish on the monthly chart, this is the last time that it happened, okay? And this was our last cycle. And we got this big move up followed by several months of grinding down into that Bitcoin halving. Right now, our next Bitcoin halving isn't until April, right? And so we got quite a ways away for that, but I do think that we are in an uptrend heading into the halving instead of a downtrend heading into the halving, right? If we go look at the cycle before that, that's what we got. We had this bullish cross and an uptrend going into the halving for Bitcoin. And so the question is, do we get this or do we get this, right? So far, it looks like we're getting this, right? And so I don't really think that we're going to see too much downside heading into this halving event, and that's going to be, something that we need to know, right? If we do, then yes, we want to be buying dips. We do not want to be selling Bitcoin now. It's going to get very crazy and volatile. We've already seen that happening, and we could get major dips back down to these major levels. If we look at the weekly chart for the CME, we've just been kind of hovering around in this gap, right? And it still can't seem to find its way out above on top of this gap. It's rejecting this 35,200 area several times now, and I'm wondering if we get some pullback this week. There's a couple things I'm seeing that suggest we might get a pullback, and that pullback is something I'm going to be buying. If we look at this chart, this is where I've been making my prediction. I think we're either going to get like a move up out of the gap and then a retest on top of it before we spring up to the 618 here, or we're going to fail the gap and then come back down to this major 0.5 area around 32,675. Now, to show you how I got those numbers, I've simply just drawn my fibs from the all-time high to our bear market low, and you can see that we just breached that 0.5 area, and that's a big deal. Typically, we get retests of these things, so it's not very common for something to break a major resistance that we've been fighting all year long and not retest the top of it before continuing. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It just means that the odds are it likely will. If I go to the weekly chart here, you can see how my weekly 8 EMA is kind of just rolling up underneath here. So maybe we get another little uptick and then a move down where that EMA kind of comes to it. I don't know. All I do know is that if I see this 0.5 at 32,675, I'm buying. For now, I'm just holding on to the Bitcoin that we've been accumulating since down here. If you've been in the Discord for a really long time, you know back in December we were buying here. We bought this dip and we bought this dip, and we kind of bought a little bit in here as well. So now that we are above 30K, I didn't really plan on buying any Bitcoin over 30K, but I might buy a little bit more if we hit this mark. So that is my current assessment on Bitcoin's chart, and I'm going to show you a couple other things now on why I think we might get this pullback. So if we look at USDT dominance, we've been holding the bottom of this triangle for a very long time. You can see there's a lot of action in this zone, and so support forming here makes sense. And I've basically just taken a trend line from these 2 points, which isn't a whole lot, so you can't put a whole lot of weight on that line. And the real major support is these 2 fibs down here. So totally possible to break through this and come down, and then this would shoot crypto up even higher. If you're not familiar with stablecoin dominance, basically what this means is if stablecoin dominance is coming down, then crypto is going up, and if this is going up, then crypto is going down. They're basically just inverse of each other, because if people are using their stablecoins to buy Bitcoin or other cryptos, then it makes sense that this goes down, and if people are selling Bitcoin and other cryptos into stablecoins, then this chart goes up. If we look at total market cap, we breached the 1.25 trillion mark, which was our resistance, and now we have closed a candle above it on the weekly. So this is just more signs for upwards momentum to continue over the mid to long term, and I do not think that you should be selling any of your Bitcoin. In fact, I think that we should start buying Ethereum. And here is why. So this trend line starts all the way back in 2016 actually. So we have about 7 years of price history here, and this is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. And basically what this is measuring is how Ethereum is doing against Bitcoin. And you can see that we are hitting that trend line perfectly right now and bouncing upward. And you can come and zoom in here and see just how perfectly we are kind of bouncing on this trend line, right? So in my opinion, I think Ethereum is a buy right now. I bought some this weekend, and I think I'm going to be dollar cost averaging in over the next several months into Ethereum. Now, does that mean that Ethereum's just going to go straight up from here and there's not going to be any drawdowns? No. It just means that for the mid to long term, and I'm talking like 1 to 2 years here at least, I want to start having Ethereum in my wallet more and more. If we look at this chart, now this might be a little confusing, but this is total 3, which is the altcoin market. Subtract USDT because I'm not concerned with what stablecoins are doing. I just want to know what altcoins are doing. And then I've divided that by Bitcoin. And so what that's done is it's given me the altcoin market against Bitcoin. And what I'm seeing is bullish divergence forming on the halfway mark here. This is the 0.5, which typically you can see reversals coming off of this mark. We have a double bottom, and the price action is slightly pointing downward while our RSI is pointing upwards. This is how you find bottoms on things, is when you find divergence like this, it marks bottoms of markets. You can see the same thing at the top here, where we were pointing upwards this way, yet the RSI was pointing down, and so was the MACD here. And so when you have a momentum oscillator going in the opposite direction as the price action, it helps you determine tops and bottoms on the market. We did this with Bitcoin, we did this with Ethereum, we did this with the NASDAQ last year. So this is like early signs that altcoins are starting to become more wanted. If we look at Bitcoin against the NASDAQ, you can see that we breached that 0.5 as well. And this is where I'm thinking another reason why we might get a pullback this week is because I think that we could retest this 0.5 as well as retest this 0.5, right? That doesn't mean it's going to happen. My main target for Bitcoin is still going to be in between 39K and 50K. And I think that we're going to see that before we get any major retracements back down, if any at all. So I've been calling for this zone all year, and I still think that we're heading towards it. If we look at the dollar, we had a huge bearish move last week, right? And we continually rejected that 0.5 that I said, okay, well, we're just watching this 0.5, and if we close a candle over it, then the equities markets are going to take a turn for the worse. And fortunately, it rejected it, and we had 2 major days of downside for the dollar, which resulted in a massive green week for the S&P 500. So we blasted through all resistances last week in this crazy green candle, and now we're back through both EMAs, which are bearish and potentially crossing bullish again. So what I want to do with the S&P and stocks is I'm basically just going to wait for this line to break. And if I see a break of this line, then okay, I'm going to start start going for some longs on the stock market again. But for now, I'm kind of just looking for opportunities of companies that have been really beaten down, like Disney, who is breaking its wedge now, and I just posted that in the long-term investments channel. If you guys haven't noticed, you can go check that out. But I do think that we're going to start seeing other companies potentially on the rise, where big tech has kind of taken over. Like these top 7 or 8 companies have really carried the entire market all year, and I think that their upside might be limited compared to some other stocks that we might be able to get into that could offer some more rewards comparatively. If we look at the Nasdaq, kind of the same story. Its EMAs did not cross bearish, right? And so now we're back bullish here. And again, I'm just going to wait for this to break. This is a bull flag pattern now that it's not falling. And if we kind of just do this here, you can see that that's the flag. This is the pole, and if we get the break up to the upside, then we can long QQQ or some of the top holdings in this ETF potentially as well. Looking at the Dow Jones, same situation. We got a big bullish candle. Like, look at this fake out. It didn't come to my 0.5, and it just blasted through both EMAs and the fibs in 1 week. Sometimes this happens. You know, technicals are good for longer term investing, and if we break this downtrend here, then yes, okay, we're fully bullish again, and we can continue higher. Until then, I'm just going to wait. So we'll see how it goes this week, and I'll keep you updated in the charts channel as that goes along. If we look at Ethereum, we're hitting resistance on the CME chart here. 1920 is the mark to beat. If Ethereum can get over 1920, then this is really going to fly. And the next major spot is 2200. So we're talking about, over a 10% move here. If 15% if we can break over 1920. But for now, we have to treat it as resistance because that's what it is. We are still under, and until that breaks, we need to be patient. Looking at the spot chart for Ethereum, we did close over the 1850 resistance. So there is room to the upside here, right? And you can see this trend line kind of points upward. And if we take that from where we are, where does it take us? Right to the 2200 mark. So there are a lot of signs pointing to up here, and you can see our EMAs are bullish on the weekly now for Ethereum, so that is a good sign. But whether or not we get a pullback, I don't know. A lot of people are waiting for one, and we may never get it, right? So if you have Ethereum and Bitcoin, just hold on to it, dollar cost average. If you're buying it for the long term here, I don't think it's a bad idea. You're going to have to be prepared for the swings, right? You're going to have to be prepared for a potential drawdown. But in my opinion, I think Ethereum can hit anywhere around 10 to 14K in the next bull cycle. So what's a couple $100 if that's the target, right? So just be patient, pick your spots, dollar cost average. Don't invest more than you're willing to hold for a couple years if you're going to be buying things on spot. All right, so I think that covers everything. I really like Link still. It's out. It's now over that 1220 mark, and it just opened up the week. I mean the week and the daily over it, right? And now we're kind of bouncing on it to start the day. So this definitely could continue as well. So if you'd like to take that long, you can. If you wanted to use some leverage on it, then just keep your stop loss just under 12 maybe to be safe and create a low risk trade. This is the Wyckoff accumulation that's going on, and we've seen this for a really long time, and now we broke through that resistance, and now I think Link can be a very, very big bull market token investment to have. My top 3 are basically Bitcoin, ETH, and Link. Followed by Tau, which is now, just skyrocketing. A few weeks ago we saw this divergence on Tau, and we were all the way down at 46 when we found it. So if anybody took my call on Tau to buy then you're doing really well now, and I think you should just hold on. I don't think you should be selling this. If we get a little bit of a pullback, cool. But I do think that this token is going to $1,000 in the bull market. Has a lot of AI hype, so just keep hanging on to that one. All right, so I think that covers everything. Basically, if Bitcoin can clear 35.5, then it can continue. And these are the two spots that I'm looking for, is 37.5 and then 39K is the main 0.618. So that's going to be our resistance should we head higher. And then if we head lower this week, then we're likely going to come down to this 32,675 area where I want to buy some more. You can see the MACD is crossing bearish, so this is kind of another little sign that I'm thinking is going to cause a pullback this week. Still really hard to say. There's a lot of bullish momentum going on. There's also slight bearish divergence on the daily here, where you can see that this RSI is trending down and the price action's trending up. So, I mean, there's no telling if it's going to continue doing that, for a little while before it comes down. On the daily, it's not nearly as good as the weekly when you find divergence. So, it can be a sign. So I'm just going to be patient and see if I can get a pullback here this week and try to snag some more. All right, so I think that covers everything. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video for YouTube now and then take chart requests from the members of the Discord. So once again, if you'd like to come into the Discord and stay up to date on all things markets, click that link in the description. You can check out the trading box, check out the Discord, and please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you, and I'll see you next month. Have a good one.